Okay, we are not live. We are recorded. Woohoo!
Dead.
We're dead. Yeah, that's true. If we're not live, we are dead. Thanks for joining us, guys. I don't know, just for kicks, I'm saying it again, I shouldn't have to. We're messing around, experimenting, different platforms, different topics, whatever. This week I said, what the heck, let's just not go live and record it all the same. Half me, half Tim. We'll do a podcast. We'll still upload the video. It's all the same. We just figured no need for live this week. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining us. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Timothy Baker.
We also figured we'd just have a hangout show, like not Google Hangout, but literally just hangout. Nothing big planned. Because last week we had a ton of fun with our guest, Shane Wiesjock. We went back to our YMB roots, interviewing a Bitcoin manager type of person running a company or whatever you want to call it, a fund. And it was a blast. So check out last week's episode, way back to our Bitcoin roots. This week, we're just hanging out. I'd like to thank our sponsor, eToro. You can find them at meandbtc.com/trade. That'll take you to them, and they'll know you found them through us. We'd appreciate that support. And we're going to show off our portfolios at the end, of course, as we've been doing. I don't want to get too cocky, but I think I'm in the black. So that could be fun. All coming up later on. How's it going, Tim? You said first of all, you've got a nice piece of art behind you. Good work on the freaking set pieces there.
I do.
Tim normally has some pretty crappy backgrounds. This is great, though. Good work on that. How's it going?
I'm stuck looking at Daniel's senior picture constantly.
Because I have my video piping to the recording, and Hangouts won't collect it at the same time. So, yeah, Tim gets to look at my Google picture, which is, yes, my senior picture. I've never screwed around with it since then. Never got a headshot. Never felt the need to mess with it. So,
if you're getting headshots and you're in Daniel's line of work, or you're doing this, it's a little weird, especially people who do it for like a dating profile. They'll pay somebody.
Ooh.
It's a little bit confusing. Although most of my life is spent confusing. You asked how are things going. Most of it's confusing. I've been talking to Daniel. I've been finishing up things. So that's been nice. I don't know how much I want to go into exactly. It's nothing illegal, but it's also nothing that I particularly want to talk about either. Mostly because it's just a bad process of having to give money out to people so that they don't bother me. Taxes. I don't know why I was trying to dance. I'm going to be secret, and they're trolling this because I did an extension back a while ago, and that gives you like another 6 months to file. You still have to pay, and then they go, well, we're also going to penalize you if you don't exactly know the amount of money that you need to pay. But then when you go to pay, depending on who you use, there's not always a way to be like, hey, I already gave you guys some money. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I feel for you for sure. I know it sucks. I know it's hard to figure out, especially when crypto's involved too. It's complicated. No one has a straight answer. I feel for you for sure. But I also would agree it's not fun to talk about. And that's
not even the stuff I've been confused about. It's just been people in general. This morning I had to go down early for a walk, not in the downtown of Pittsburgh, but kind of on the other side. So I had to go through it. I think I figured out later what was the problem, but for some reason traffic was terrible the one way. I went the other way. And in the span of like a 15-minute drive, I saw 2 side swipe accidents.
Ooh.
And I think I saved the one. It was an old lady smack into it. I don't know if the person in front of me was a lady, but their vanity license plate just said Kathy. So I think I saved the old lady from having to actually own up to what she did, because I saw her moving over. The other one wasn't paying attention at all. They smacked each other, and they both stopped, and I just honked and just started screaming at them out the window. So I felt good after that. And later on, I saw it happened again. I think something's going on. People are losing their minds.
Speaking of car accidents, that reminds me, just last night, I wrote an article. And also just for kicks, I have no idea how this might play out, but just for kicks, I want to see how it goes, Tim. If I turn this article over to you, and you can cover it, go to our website. It's the first article you'll see. You can cover it as if it was just any other story that you found on the internet that you were going to cover for a podcast. Read the headline, read a few sentences, read the subheadings or whatever, and have a field day with it, good or bad. Yeah, I have no idea where this is going. This was not planned, but just for kicks, it does. That your car accident thing reminded me of it, and I want to see how you would cover it.
So what, you mean now or what?
Yeah, right now. Get this article up. Tell me what. Just
the issue is because then my beautiful face might go away. No, I was. You were saying read like the subheadings and the headings.
Yeah, however you would normally cover a story during a show. Just like read a few bits of it, comment on it.
When I used to cover these, whenever I was doing the show by myself, I would just read the entire thing. And
I mean, that's fine too. That's people do that. I've wondered how copyright works in that scenario, because plenty of podcasts will read like 80% of an article word for word, or even if it's not the whole thing, even just like 3 paragraphs. It's like, is that okay? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know about article. Because there isn't always. I think most of that stuff, if there is an issue, they're going to have some kind of warning down at the bottom. So what, the high stakes 6 real life games? Well, first off, I like the title just because people talk about all the time about how whatever, or not people, it's mostly like people I know who are like, well, no, you have to be careful. You shouldn't gamble your money away. You shouldn't do whatever because it's dangerous. And I'm like, you could just drive down and get smashed by some idiot who's not paying attention because he's taking the other way to work. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the points. Also, stakes is spelled STEAKS.
Yes, I was trying to ignore that. He has something about stoned cows at the beginning of this, a little joke there. High stakes.
Stoned cows?
Yeah, high stakes. Make yours not look as bad.
When you said that, I was literally thinking stoning, like beating someone to death. I was like, why would you do that to a cow?
Why are you killing cows like that? You should just put a thing up to their head and then shoot a metal piece in their head. They love it when you do that. Yeah, Daniel mentions at the beginning of this that we talked to a crypto fund manager last week. He also talked to us, mostly me, about liking to gamble, because Daniel kept on taking himself out. He was having mind waves attack him from the government. It was stopping his words from getting to you. And I actually found out that what was his name? You just said it's Shane.
Yeah.
I found out that he actually lives pretty close to where I do. We've gone to the same casino. I actually almost went to the casino this weekend. Missed that, thankfully, and then didn't really have that good of a night afterwards anyway. So whatever, I probably should have just gone to the casino. But he mentions it's no secret. It's Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. And I don't think we really talked about that so much, about how just besides Bitcoin, besides gambling on Bitcoin, besides gambling on cryptocurrency, the idea of blockchain stuff Daniel says revolutionized, because that's what you need to do to put it into an article that's online, because then people go, oh, well, revolutionized. we all like revolution for some reason. We like that word, and then yet we're incapable of ever getting angry enough about literally anything to ever be like, no, these guys are, as far as we go, is, all the guys at the top are bad. Okay, well, why are they bad?
Are you going to actually have a revolution?
No. Do you know what's on Netflix right now? There's a new Chinese blockbuster that just got put on there, and I think there was some Chinese sci-fi blockbuster that was supposed to get a bunch of press, and then it didn't do well, and then the director was like, I have dishonored. This is probably very insensitive as far as like culturally that I'm saying that, but I'm pretty sure he did say that. Also, especially after, if you guys follow, I knew him because I would listen to his podcast. Shane Gillis was on Saturday Night Live for about a day, like on the crew for it. Their season hasn't started back up, and then he was taken right back off because they found him saying, or am I allowed to say Oriental? Or I was going to say Asian slur. But Oriental slurs, maybe that's a slur.
No idea.
Anyway, Daniel, continuing with the article, he says it's hard to find a sports book that doesn't accept cryptocurrency. I remember I've had, even a couple of years ago, my friends who, when either they were asking me about Bitcoin and about it whenever it was $20,000, or they were asking about it because they wanted to use it for, I forget what the website was called. And I always wanted to do it. It was a
for gambling?
Sports betting. Yeah, it was
the biggest one is probably Bovada.
Yeah, it was Bovada.
Not the biggest, but the most popular one for just a casual sports bettor.
Yeah. I'm not so sure. I mean, like I said, I didn't use it. I do kind of prefer, if I'm going to be gambling on sports like that, to just do face-to-face with somebody.
We've had some good ones. Yeah, then there's no house, and it's more fun that way.
Yeah, no house. There's no, let me put my money into my account, then I'll move it over here, and then I'll be like, it's like, no. And you kind of get the feel, like, theoretically, if I bet with Daniel, I could then go to his house and beat him, which I feel like is the only real way you're allowed to gamble is if your bookie can come and fuck you up afterwards.
That is fun. We should do that more often. Yeah, if I'm going to drop $5 on a football game anyway, I might as well bet you. Like then there's no house. Like one of us wins.
Well, right now, so you can do pretty well.
The only thing is you're not going to give me 100% bonus like most of these sports books will.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'll figure out for you. Daniel mentions why cryptocurrency is so big for them, and it's because it's a cheap way to send money, and it's it's not nearly as risky for them as taking something like PayPal or a credit card, and it's fast, it's secure, again, without having to deal with chargebacks.
Chargebacks are the death of them.
Yeah, PayPal is PayPal didn't do them any favors.
Yeah, I doubt that any of them legally accept PayPal. They might, like some of them might accept it, but I'm sure it's technically not allowed by PayPal. I don't even know if any really. None of the mainstream ones probably even try to accept PayPal, I would guess. Like, there's just no hope.
No use. There's no point to it.
Yeah, if they do, it's probably like a startup, like tiny sports gambling site that probably is never going to pay you out anyway.
What is a wager? Oh,
just a bet.
Never mind. Wagers. Okay, I thought it was some kind of gambling person. I'm so stupid.
One that wages.
About things you can bet on. That's literally what I thought it was. He also mentioned that some people, including my entire family, are very against gambling. I don't know what this dog is doing. He's over here looking at me. I'm doing another overnight stay for anybody who hasn't noticed. I didn't buy this painting. But this dog, since I've been here, he's not barking. He just keeps clawing at some basket and then farting. And he's been doing that for a while. And the noises his stomach are making are concerning. Hey, bud. Hey, Cash, how are you? What is on your nose? he fucked up his nose. I didn't notice that. His nose is all scratched up.
You're in trouble
weird,
now, Tim.
You're weird, bud. Nah, the owner, I actually met her a couple days ago. She's very sweet. She's very nice. Hi,
She
bud.
might be watching this, so watch your words.
Hopefully, I love you. Yeah, they say gambling's problematic. And I think I've never seen a sign. I see like CDC signs around for pre-diabetes. But thankfully, the government doesn't waste too much money on being like, if you have gambling, do this, whatever. But every time you hear a commercial for the casino, every time you hear a commercial for a scratch-off ticket, which shouldn't be compared to the same thing. Scratch-off tickets and going to the casino playing blackjack or playing online, there's definitely a difference there. I would think it's a lot easier to get addicted to. Actually, I don't know. Like, because I've met a few people that play scratch-off tickets kind of randomly, and it infuriates me. But whatever.
It's okay though. I mean, they're not actually out to get us because they put 1-800-GAMBLING at the bottom of all their ads.
Yeah.
So they really care about us.
Yeah. Or you hear it on the radio and it's just the real sped up voice at the end. There's a risk with gambling. Blah, blah, blah. Call 1-800-GAMBLING. Don't aim for it. 1-800-GGA. Oh, I need to go to the casino. Daniel's not being judgmental because, again, he's writing an article and he doesn't want people to think that he's being judgmental.
I would never. I would never.
No, you wouldn't. Then he goes on to say there are things that we do daily that are just as risky, and they're a gamble. And he doesn't say this as far as, or at least not yet, about, well, this should encourage you to gamble. But that's what it's going to do. Daniel is actually trying to throw people into a gambling spiral right now just to make himself feel better.
I'm telling you. Never mind. I was going to say I'm telling you should, but then I got worried that some people out there would not take it as a joke, and they would then go gamble away all their money and then sue me for saying that they should. So, clarification, beyond all clarifications. I'm not telling you have to go gamble. Just
don't do it.
Get that out front here.
Put your stupid dollar down. Put your for all the old people that go to the casino, put your oxygen mask down. Breathe, and just watch television. Call your children if they still talk to you. First, when he mentions investing, that's pretty obvious. That's what I was mentioning with like just talking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in general. Is, well, again, people see that as much more of a gamble than, say, silver or gold, but I've had a very bad time with silver.
I even mentioned gold in there, I think. Yeah, bonds, ETFs, cash, gold. Houses. Everybody always tells me how her house really keeps its value. You need to put your money into this account. You shouldn't. And again, I agree. And I've had the argument with my mother specifically about why it's kind of just dumb just to have your money sitting in a savings account. But at the same time, if I say that, people are like, yeah, no, you're right. You know what you should do is you should put it in the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, that's not going to do anything either. But whatever. You can – people – there are dumb people in the world, but then the vast majority of people are the people that have just the barest amount of awareness to where they go, I don't want to be dumb, so I'm going to do this thing that every single internet article out there tells me to do. And it's not a get rich quick scheme, but it's just sound investing. It makes your money grow and it starts to work for you. So the investing, that's pretty usual. Driving is, I don't know who you are, where you are, that you don't see these idiots driving around you. And at the same, I can't get too pissed off at people because it is just something that most people do every single day. At some point, you're just going to zone out. It's very hard to constantly always pay attention, especially with
everything that people are on nowadays. People have anxiety, I need to take Xanax. And then they go drive someplace and they're not paying attention. They're listening to music. They're looking at their phones, but don't, I don't know. I was trying to make a point as to what the people get angry about. Daniel mentions the flashing blue lights. Sometimes the flashing blue lights of police cause the accidents. You may die, you may not, or you may just get what I did, where the one deer comes up over the side of the road at sunset and says, "Fuck you, Tim. I'm going to smash your windshield and make sure you don't get to go home and eat your food like you wanted to." And eventually it all works out, and I kind of feel good. They didn't let me keep the deer to hang it up on the wall, but whatever. Daniel makes the point, just in case you guys are a little slow, that the stakes in driving are your life or your health or your body or whatever. Insurance is his next point. Insurance is, all of it's just a huge gamble, and it's not the gamble you normally think of. You don't go, "Oh, I'll do this and then I'll break my leg and I'll really win then. I can't wait to break my leg." No, you're just paying them money. So if the chance that you do break your leg, then they help support you at least a little bit, but it's all messed up now because they charge 4 times what stuff is worth, and then hospitals do that, and they don't really pay as much. And then, but the gambling part of it is you pay, and every single time you don't get injured, every second you don't have emphysema or something, you're losing. You're constantly losing, and you don't ever win until something bad happens. But then you are happy because you're not being completely drowned in debt. You're only kind of being drowned. You're being waterboarded with debt over a short period. Walking, I wouldn't classify this as something different. I would say transportation, because you can get on a train and the train can just fall off the tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Walking again, dumb drivers, and then the people who walk are just as dumb. Then you have the bicyclists, which is an awful mix too. And there's bicyclists, walkers, pedestrians. I'm sorry, we have to have a different word for them.
In over the span of maybe like 4, not long, a few months, you're like the third specific person who I've heard complain about bicyclists and specifically mention how they can't have it both ways. No,
you can't take up my lane going 10 miles an hour and then blast through a red light.
Yeah.
And then angry at me if I try to pass you, or I just honk the horn at them. I lay on the horn. I'm like, I hope you fall over into a park. I'm not going to run you over because I don't want to have to deal with that. But I hope you fall and do something that the earth hurts you. I hope you need that insurance.
I understand that concern and pretty much totally agree. But I'm just saying, like, it wasn't until the first of those 3 people over the past few months that I even realized, like, wait, that's a good point. Like, what are the laws for a biker? Like, do you have to obey the red light or the walking sign? Like, what are they actually?
To obey the traffic lights, because you are considered traffic. In Pittsburgh, they have bike lanes now everywhere for all the healthy bikers. And I also just don't like bikers because they think they're being healthy. I'm like, you're still fat. Just because you bike to work, you're not burning. The whole point of this apparatus is that it doesn't use that much energy to travel you. You burned a little bit more than me driving. Well, my fury at you is burning quite a bit more calories right now. Also in New York, they're killing people because they're bike messengers. Obviously there's a lot more bikers in New York, but they're just smashing into pedestrians, which again is probably a mixture of people being stupid. And they don't kill people because it's like it's a human being going 20 to 30 miles an hour, slamming into your head. And then they go, I was going to work. How dare you get in my way, sir? Daniel then next mentions eating. I would say This is just trusting anybody else to do anything for you.
Oh yeah.
Where I again, from personal experience, well, Daniel makes 2 points. He makes the point of, if you're being a fat fuck, and is this going to be the ice cream scoop that eventually kills you? Is this going to be the steak? We always hear these things about lettuce giving people E. coli and salmonella because it's important. Like at our standard of how cheap food is supposed to be and at the amount that it needs to be produced, it's impossible to stop this stuff from getting on it from time to time. You can't completely eliminate the risks. But then also you have to deal with the people making the food. And every kitchen I've worked in or worked around, going from I would say a mid-level, like better than fast food, a little bit higher end than like an Eaton Park or a diner, but a pizza place like that, it's cleaner as far as what you can see. You could then go to a bar, it doesn't even look clean. But even the place that's cleaner, maybe you went to the restaurant when the day that their industrial washer just isn't working, so now they're doing it by hand. And even with the industrial washer, what happens if the plates are stacked incorrectly? What happens whenever it isn't, the back part where they prepped all the meat isn't completely wiped down? What if the oven is slightly a few less temperatures? What if you ask for undercooked food?
Yeah.
Steak rare because it tastes so much better because blah, 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 blah. And then those are the people that are also going to be like, oh, why am I getting sick? Well, this is the only real food you've eaten this week. The rest of the time it's ramen noodles and cheese curls, but whatever. Daniel, yeah, if it's not prepared right.
Yeah, I worked in food service as well for a few years, and it was Chick-fil-A, which is considered higher end, and it probably, if you like did some analysis and measured the water temperature, food temperature, sure, it's probably has less E. coli than other places. But at the same time, like, yeah, there's rags everywhere, dripping on stuff,
Just in the air. Just the customers coming in. You're not testing every single person who comes in for a cold.
Right. Yeah, you're cutting lemons. You might have to sort of, wipe your face a little bit accidentally, and that. Yeah. Are you really going to change your gloves every 3 seconds? Like, no.
Yeah, well, that is the OSHA standards, and as long as we have a government agency behind all of this, everything's going to do fine. As long as you make people watch videos, they're always going to.
Oh, geez, training videos. So could do a whole episode on those. People have.
Yeah, Daniel makes mention you're gambling even whenever you're making your own food because of the nutritional content or where you're buying it from, but especially whenever you go out to eat.
Yeah, did someone lick your ice cream? You don't know that.
Yeah. Drinking, bars are worse just for drinking out of glasses and stuff like that. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Everyone's like, we're going to go get some drinks. I'm like, well, that guy over there doesn't look like he's cleaning things very much.
Even doing your own dishes. Like I pretty much do all the dishes here. And just because it's one of the few ways I know for sure I can be helpful around the house. Like, I don't know like what kind of cleaner to use on the toilet, but I do know how to do dishes.
You just put bleach on everything.
I don't know the optimal time to scrub the floor, whether it should be once a week or 3 times a week. I don't know, but I know I can do dishes. But no, the point is, even when I do dishes myself, it's like, well, how many times do I need to scrub the corner of this pan? Like, yeah, there's like sort of some grease still on it, but it's going to take 5 minutes to get it off. Like, what's the best?
And then you're using dish soap that isn't necessarily antibacterial, but then they make that.
Yeah, that sponge has been sitting in the sink for 3 weeks now. Like, yeah, I'm still going to use it. It's covered in soap. Like, I haven't died yet.
No, and then you also need, where I used to live, you need like where your hot waters turn up all the way so you can burn yourself with what's coming out of the faucet. If it's not that, you're not killing anything on the plate. And then Daniel finishes up this article with breaking the law, and it was, I don't do that. I'm a good, upstanding citizen, and I believe in following the government and listening to them. I believe that blah blah blah. Whoever told me to do this, whether that's some weird religious thing or if you just have some kind of weird devotion to a state. I know one person who doesn't consistently drive over the speed limit, and that is also the same person that I think it could probably count on her hand how many times she's driven over the speed limit without. But then you also just don't notice it sometimes. You can just have places where they just don't post the thing. You can start driving.
Did you fully stop at that stop sign?
Yeah. Are your lights on correctly? It's 7:30. It's kind of dark. Do you have your full lights on, or are those just your running lights? What do you? You're gambling with people's lives. And
that's
again, you can look. What?
That's true. Like breaking the law, speeding is kind of a driving gamble. But also, I was just referring to the money aspect. You could get extorted. That's
yeah. I mean, you could. It could cause an accident possibly because really not most, but some accidents are actual accidents where there's a lot of places in Pittsburgh where it's just. I don't know who decided to set up the roads one way. They're just like you stop the right to your side. They don't stop, and they're coming up over the top of a hill, so you can't see them until they're coming up over the top of the hill. But stop, and everybody will be safe until someone comes up the hill and you're already going. So fuck you.
I almost got killed leaving your house last time I was there.
That was even with the help of me waving at the person. But then they drove up the street from me, so they were probably going to get heroin or something. There's always just fire trucks that drive up there to wake people up, with some Narcan or whatever. But Daniel also makes a point. And again, talking about the sideswipe accidents this morning, talking about people just going in the wrong lane when it's like, oh, this lane can turn left and go straight. This lane can go right. The person is in the right lane. They go straight, whatever. I'm always like, there has to be a way to punish this person. I'm like, I can't hit them with my car. What can I do? It's nothing. But the idea is then if they drive like that, they'll do it enough times that the cops will see them. But again, that's a probability thing. That's not going to happen
gambling.
Necessarily. Yeah, you're just gambling with it, and the police driving around in circles for some reason in a van, they're not paying attention. I've seen plenty of people do things in front of police, and they just go, I really don't want to write the paperwork for this. They didn't cause an accident. I'm not going to do anything here. Anytime you do anything, anytime you get pulled over, you're kind of running the gamble, even as you talk to the cop as to whether or not he's going to decide to give you points, take money from you.
Every word you say is a gamble. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's just, you were being bad. I'm just going to give you a warning. Daniel closes out this article with going that, yes, gambling, just as far as us just living I don't know if it's because it's it's not a finite life, but we have a delicate life. We have a dangerous life. We're dangerous. We're cool. We're sexy. We're dodging danger every single day. Not like people used to. Not in a sense that you can that it reminds you that you're gambling every day. Like if you wake up every day and you have to go out and hunt, and that's a gamble, and it's like, well, if you get the deer today, you're going to eat. If you don't, you're not going to. And how many chips do you have before you run out and die? What we have is, life is good, life is great, life is peaceful, it's safe until it's not. And then you're just like, what happened? This whenever you run into a deer and you go, this isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Why did this happen? Why me? Why was I the one that came along at this exact point in time when this stupid deer decided it was his exact point in time to go do this? I mean, you can get into gambling about how you just end up seeing someone that you really don't want to talk to in a supermarket. And you're like, how much burials? Like, I could have just stayed at that light for another 30 seconds.
Yeah,
but
no,
I can't see this person.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah, it's everywhere. That's, yeah.
Overall, terrible article. I give it a 0 out of 5. I would give it less if I was able to, because, what's the fun of reviewing something unless you're shitting on it?
All right, well...
What?
I was just going to review your review of my article.
Thank you.
No, that's good. That wasn't planned, but that is kind of what popped into my head. Is like, well, what happens if Tim just goes through this article? And it worked out. Had some interesting thoughts and comments and conversations. I do want to stress though, like, yes, I said at the beginning, I'm not trying to judge here, but obviously in some senses I am trying to judge the people that judge gambling. But at the same time, I'm really not. Like, I'm kind of making fun of them, but I'm really not straight up disagreeing with them, like, fully. Like yeah, I do think gambling can be terrible, and it all comes down to the two things: the odds and the stakes. That's all that matters. The odds and the stakes. So going through this list, like investing, the stakes are pretty high. It might be your life savings, but the odds of losing are pretty low if you're careful. Like, if you do buy a house, like, yeah, you'll probably be fine. The odds of busting out are pretty low. And same thing with like a 401k. Yeah, 2008 might happen, but you're probably going to be fine. The stakes are high, but the odds are pretty low. Driving, stakes are extremely high. You could die. But the odds of that really happening, like, yes, it happens daily, but out of all the drivers in the world, the odds are pretty low. Insurance, the odds of losing are incredibly high. That's exactly the sentence I wrote there. Yeah, insurance, you're supposed to lose. That's how they make money, because people lose. People pay money to them. And it's worse because there's mandatory insurance, which is kind of bullcrap. It inflates the price. But in general, it's still a reasonable risk. Yes, you're going to lose, but you're also not going to have a $400,000 broken leg bill. Okay. Walking, stakes are high. It's your life, but the odds of actually getting hit are relatively low. Breaking the law, the stakes are fairly high, but the stakes aren't huge. It depends. Like a speeding ticket, not terrible stakes. And the odds are fairly low, so that's why everyone speeds. So anyway, all that to clarify, you got to take those two things into account. That's what gambling is it's looking at those two factors and making a decision. And yeah, gambling can fall under the high stakes, high risk category. Yes, you could put $100,000 on black, and you're probably going to lose it, especially if you do it twice. So yeah, gambling can be a terrible risk, terrible life decision. All I was trying to do with this article is point out that maybe a $5 sports bet, it's pretty low stakes. And hey, the odds might not even be against you. Depends on the odds. So anyway, just some thought-provoking stuff there. And Tim did a great job of covering my coverage. So
what?
Hey, you know what? This is, you know what? I'll save it because we've already done a decent amount of content in this episode. And I'll just do a teaser. I have no idea. It might be a 5-minute conversation next week. It might be a 50-minute conversation next week. But I want to talk about this new subreddit I found called Churning. It's, I'm sure plenty of people out there have heard of it. Some of you maybe even do it. I'm not trying to get too involved in it, but I've just been fascinated about the concept. It's all about either like credit cards or rewards or like bank account, like, oh, $150 bonus if you open a bank account with $500 for 6 months or whatever. It's all about making money off the banks, and that's pretty relevant for a Bitcoiner. We all hate the banks, and then with credit cards, it's like, oh, $500 sign-up bonus plus 5% cash back on these categories. That's what churning is all about, and it's about optimizing all those bonuses. And so anyway, that's my teaser. There's a lot of stuff I could bring up about like the economics of it, which banks have different rules and how they work. I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to like tell you. I'm not an expert. I've only even read this Reddit for like a week now. I'm not an expert. I just want to comment next week on like the idea of like, oh, that's interesting. Why does it exist? How does it work? I'm not trying to give you all the secrets because I don't know all the secrets, but I just want to comment about how it exists and how it's been fascinating me lately. So that'll be next week for at least a few minutes. And because it's been interesting me, and it is a financial thing, kind of relevant to some Bitcoiners too. So there's my teaser. Great 12-minute long teaser there. Hey guys, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor for today. That is eToro. You can find them at btc.com/trade. They have been around longer than Bitcoin. Guys, seriously. They've got 10 million users already, 14 cryptos to trade, buy, sell, and the number one part, without question, is their virtual portfolio. It takes a minute and a half to sign up, and you've got that right away, $100,000 worth of virtual currency to start trading with. Virtual dollars, they've got in the virtual trading, they've got the value of $1, and you can start screwing around, see how the platform works, try to make money. We are in the midst of a virtual currency competition, virtual portfolio competition. And you know what? Tim pulled ahead this week. We didn't have time to fit it into this recording, but we'll catch up next week again and show you where we're at. But Tim surprisingly, obnoxiously, annoyingly pulled ahead of me by about $1,000. We both are in the black. We're both above $100,000 that we started with. Guys, this is not investment advice. We will never give you investment advice on this show, but it's just what we do. It's what we like. It's what we see on the platform, and we have been enjoying it a ton. All kinds of features, great charts, great, watch list. You can see all your positions. You can draw on the charts. Crazy stuff. Like I said, 14 cryptos, 10 million users. They've been around longer than Bitcoin. You can find them at meandbtc.com/trade. We thank them a ton for sponsoring us. And if you go through that link, they'll know you found them through us, and we would appreciate your support in that way. Peace out, guys. We'll see you next week.